So who was Mark? His full name was John Mark. You can find him popping up all over the New Testament, especially in the book of Acts. He wasn't one of the original 12 disciples. Instead, he was a younger guy, kind of a mentee to the apostles. Think of him as the intern of the early church. His mom, Mary, was a big deal in Jerusalem. Her house was basically the central hub, the main meeting spot for the first believers. So Mark grew up right in the heart of the action, hearing incredible stories about Jesus firsthand from people like Peter. Now, what did he do? Well, his biggest claim to fame is, of course, writing the Gospel of Mark. Tradition says that Mark was super close to the Apostle Peter. He acted as Peter's interpreter and scribe. Imagine sitting down with Peter every day, listening to his raw, unfiltered memories of walking with Jesus, and your job is to write it all down. That's what Mark did. He captured the urgency, the power, and the humanity of Jesus through Peter's eyes. But here's a really interesting part of his story. It wasn't all smooth sailing. On his very first missionary journey with the Apostle Paul and his own cousin Barnabas, Mark bailed. Yep, he got homesick or scared, we don't know for sure, but he quit halfway through and went home. Later, when Paul and Barnabas were planning a second trip, Paul said, "No way are we taking the quitter again." This caused a huge fight, a sharp disagreement, the Bible calls it. So sharp that Paul and Barnabas split up. Paul took a new partner, and Barnabas, he took a chance on Mark. He gave him a second chance. And that brings us to the lessons we can learn from Mark. First, failure isn't final. Mark messed up. He quit, he let people down. But that wasn't the end of his story. Because of Barnabas's encouragement, he got back up, and guess what? Years later, the very same Paul who rejected him writes from a Roman prison, "Get Mark and bring him with you because he is helpful to me in my ministry." What a comeback. Mark went from being labeled a failure to being considered essential. It's a powerful reminder that our past mistakes don't have to define our future. Second, God uses ordinary people. Mark wasn't an original apostle. He was a young guy who once abandoned his mission. Yet God used him to write one of the most foundational books of human history. You don't need a perfect resume to be used for something great. You just need a willing heart. Mark's story shows us that it's okay to be a work in progress. It's about getting back up, learning from your mentors, and allowing your failures to shape you into someone stronger, more faithful, and incredibly useful. Now that's a story worth telling.